Good evening, everybody. Sorry about that. I was just had a little bit of brain fart for a second. Anyway, welcome again to another edition of the Skookum Session Bigfoot Roundtable podcast. Excuse me, forgot to add that part. We have pretty much the whole gang tonight, which is phenomenal. Myself, we have Gary. Gary, what's going on, my friend? How goes the battle?
Who's Gary? Oh, me.
I thought that was you, but
Wow, doing good, man. Great week. Been busy.
yeah.
Doing good. Excited to be back. Great topic tonight.
Oh yeah. And we have the honor of having Stu with us for a little bit tonight. Our brother from across the pond. Stu, what's going on, man?
Hey, hi, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Good to have you, bud.
Good stuff. Glad to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. Glad you're able to make it for at least a little bit tonight, and
My pleasure, man.
What's that, Stu?
My pleasure.
My pleasure, buddy.
Jeez, you got to learn your UK-ish.
I do, don't I? Okay, so next we have Mr. One and Only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Israel Barreto. How is it going?
It's been it was a long week, a good weekend though. I got a lot of projects done, but and I was able to make it for a little bit. So thank you for having me again, and looking forward to this conversation today.
Absolutely, especially with we had a good one. I mean, granted, being Travis, 5 of us last week when Sean ended up getting on, but we had a hell of a conversation. So,
yeah,
y'all in for a treat tonight.
That was epic.
Yeah, it got interesting. Very interesting.
It did, and I have a feeling it will end tonight. All right. Unfortunately, Sean just messaged me. He cannot make this show. But things come up. Anyway, we have John also joining us, but he's actually dealing with something at the moment. So he will be back in about 10 minutes. And of course, as usual, last and certainly not least, Mr. Travis Bowen. Travis, what's going on, man? How's everything going? I know you've been working like a madman.
Yeah. I got 2 more days, and I'll be 132 hours straight.
Wow. Travis. You are a machine.
Hey.
That is for sure, man.
But in a couple more days, you'll be able to buy that scar off of me.
Well, I'm thinking about it real hard because the girl's gonna have a wonderful Christmas. I got new tires on the truck, paid off all my credit cards.
Oh, you lucky man.
I will tell you, the next 2 days, I'm actually getting paid double time.
So, wow.
Good deal. No, you deserve it.
Double time.
You deserve
it. The government's gonna send me a thank you check before it's all said and done. I thought thank you letter, not thank you check. A thank you letter from my paycheck. But
nice. That's a lot of hours, man. That's 132. I mean,
I couldn't physically do that anymore.
That's why we switched we aren't working solar. I can't do solar or construction anymore. I'm just too beat up, and I don't 30 blow up here. No, thank you. Anyway,
blow up there right now?
No. You know what I'm saying? In the winter, they would have us working outside and we're hanging iron or hanging solar. 30 below zero. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so yeah, we left off. Where exactly I don't remember exactly where we left off, but we were headed in a certain direction.
You want me to pull up the last 5 seconds of it and see?
Well, I think the last thing we were talking about was the red-haired giants of the Cherokee smoked out.
Yes, the Lovelock Caves. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and just to give everyone a quick rundown, that if you missed last week, it was Travis, Gary, myself, and Switzer. Sean came out a little late. We just kind of hit on the topic of, how many are there, how many subspecies, how big are they in this area, how big are they here, why, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're just going to keep rolling in that direction. So it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one. So anyway, Gary, Ludlock, what are they called?
Lovelock Caves.
Okay, I am not familiar. So
Legend has it. They say it's more of a confirmed fact.
Right.
Native American tribes got in a battle with a group of red-headed cannibalistic giants. They lived in the cave. If I remember right, it was the Paiute Indians. Went to the cave, built a fire at the front of the cave, and killed the cannibalistic giants. And they've got archaeological evidence inside the caves of they supposedly the Smithsonian took the bones of the giants, but of cannibalistic, whether it was giants or people, but of cannibalistic broken bones, chewed, gnawed on.
Yeah. You can definitely tell when something's been when a bone's been gnawed on by something with human-like teeth. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah. So Stu, I know you in Israel. You don't have a whole lot of time tonight. So, one of the, if you don't mind, that is kind of like the, as far as you two go, I'd like to kind of get in your head, get your thoughts on this whole thing. Stu, I'll start with you. I know, how many. You've been hearing legends of, what the Woodwoes was one name, right? Where is it? How many other names are there for Sasquatch type creatures in your neck of the woods?
We've got the Woodwoos, the Woodwoos, the Green Man, Brownie, the Wild Men of the Forest. There's quite a few, and then you get into the Welsh and Irish and the Scottish languages. It's like the Urisk in Scotland. They were thought to live in there were wild men that lived alongside the fairies in the fairy realms. They came out when they needed to.
Okay.
From underground. But most commonly, it's what you see in the medieval shields and the heraldic crests. It's the Woodwoos.
Yep. Okay. Now, let me, one question that it came immediately to mind. Now, with the different, as far as species go, what's your opinion on different subspecies in the UK?
From what I know, there's the sightings in the reports we've got. There's two different ones. You're more ape type.
Yep.
Described as a monkey man, and the other reports are of hair-covered Neanderthals.
Okay, kind of like an Almas.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
More human-like, but hair-covered.
Great, right. Okay. Now, is that just England, or would that be considered the whole, UK?
That's the whole UK.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. You think there's a possibility there could be more than those two, or?
I think so. Yes, I think so. I mean, that's just the Sasquatch. That's not including the canine reports that we get in as well.
Right. Gotcha.
I think where there's two, maybe there's three, maybe there's four.
Yeah, I would agree, because we, that's one of the first things we started talking about was, subspecies within species. It's gonna happen, So, yeah, cool stuff. All right, cool. Thank you, Stu. Israel.
Yes, sir.
My friend. Yes. Now, since we've all been working together a while now. Now, I know, like you said, this isn't your area of whatever you want to call it, how many, in your opinion, would it make sense? And obviously, I know the answer to this, but what would be your opinion on if you took into consideration the regions of the country, the topography, the water sources, the major ones? How many species of these things would you think? I know, just a rough guess estimation.
Oh Lord, being the new guy on here. Again, if you look at the different areas, so of course you're gonna have your for swamp areas. We can say that there's one species for the swamp areas, and of course they're gonna have different different features. Like we talked about one time, maybe the webbed feet.
Yes.
Right, for walking around, possibly in the water area, and those might not have as much fur as talk about ones that living in the mountains where it's it's snowing a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's another one, and then desert. What did we talk about the other time? I can't remember. We were talking about the other features that possibly one that could have for that the skin or something like that to adapt to those kinds of conditions.
Was it what Gary and I were talking about with the Genasqua, where they would roll in the
roll in the mud and put the skin.
Yeah.
We was also covering about skin pigments. More arid areas that their skin would be drier, and then the wetter areas it would be, softer.
Yep.
I got a question for Israel myself. You being from Puerto Rico. Is there any legends or folklore of Sasquatch on your islands? I know there is in South America, but
I'll owe you that. And I knew somebody was going to ask me as soon as you guys started talking about it. So I was like, I already wrote it down. the only thing that obviously since I was a kid, chupacabra. That's the biggest thing, and there's lots and tons of reports about them. You're talking about people waking up and having 50 to 60 of their chickens dried out, and some people can't explain it. So that was a big one. But as far as a Bigfoot subspecies, I don't. It's not that I haven't heard it, but I'll find out for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I imagine you grew up here in with La Chupacabra. I mean, probably like native cultures are here with Bigfoot, right? I mean, it's just them. It's there, Yeah. There's
you see it everywhere. You hear about it everywhere too. But in some of the areas, it's more UFO sightings. It's very, very big on UFO sightings.
Gotcha.
Especially towards the rainforest. You'll see there's actually a section out there that's closed off by the Marines. Well, back in the day, I don't know if it's still now, but yeah, that you couldn't even pass through there. So what was going on back there? Nobody really knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Something's going on for sure.
Definitely something's happening up there.
Well, it's like Hawaii even. I mean, they say Hawaii is the only state where nothing along these lines has been cited, but there's an article you can pull up, and Gary, I know you read it, about the bus of kids that broke down, and it's supposed to be something that's kind of built like a ring pen deck.
In Hawaii?
Yes.
Oh, there's all kinds of legends of Sasquatch all the way down to the little people in Hawaii.
And that's what they saw. They supposedly saw a couple of them built a lot like pen deck, maybe 3 feet.
If I can pronounce it right, I think it's called the Mahuahona or something like that.
Mahuahona.
How do you say that?
Mahuahona.
Yes, that's it.
Mahuahona. I believe that's it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that sounds real like it. I can't roll my mouth.
Well, it definitely sounds Polynesian. So it would make sense. But yeah, so. John, but you're back. I see.
Yeah, well, I'm here.
Everything worked out.
Oh, yeah,
So-
we'll talk later about that.
Okay,
I'm just trying to get my chair fixed. There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Israel, let me get back to you real quick. Now, so we left off. I asked you just a rough guesstimate. You desert, you got so like you said, you'd have to have something that would be more adaptable to the desert. Have to have something for the southeast, and then take into consideration you got the Midwest, you got the East Coast, the southern East Coast, southeast. You got the northeast where I'm at. You've got the northwest. So, in just a rough guesstimation, what would be your guess? Just an
How many
opinion.
different species?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Is there more than 100?
Would you say at least one for each region?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would have to agree. So, I've always believed there's, the consensus of a lot of groups in the past was 4, and I think there's more, and I think there's probably subspecies within those subspecies. Travis, I know I know you're down to that theory as well. Let's hear some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I would compare them to modern day dogs, really all canines.
Yeah.
Domestic dogs, of course, have been manipulated by people, bred for different reasons, you name it. But if you look at just feral canines, wild canines, wolves, coyotes, foxes, they all genetically are extraordinarily similar, but they all have different sizes, shapes, colors, different, ecosystems as far as a niche they fit into.
Absolutely.
And
compare
compare
an African wild dog from Africa to a dingo in Australia.
Exactly. I mean,
right.
So, they're actually very similar in a whole lot of ways. And the reason being is terrain, climate. I mean, they're not overly big, extraordinary endurance.
Oh my God, the African wild dog. I mean, lions. I think kill 70. I was just reading this the other day. Not to change the subject, but I have to throw this in here. They kill on a hunt. They kill I think 78% of their prey. Where the African wild dogs, it's somewhere around 96, 97 because cats they'll get tired out and they'll stop. The dogs just keep going and going, and they keep a steady pace, and they are very proficient hunters.
Are y'all talking about the Rhodesian Ridgeback or the African Ferals?
No, talking about the African one, the painted dog they call it.
Oh, the
African
feral.
painted dog.
Feral dog. Yeah.
Very efficient predator. Very.
Well, I mean, the American timber wolf and gray wolves, they basically do the same tactic.
Absolutely.
Their difference is unbelievable, and they will just once they pick what they want, they will literally run it to death.
To death.
Mm-hmm.
To death.
And once whatever the animal may be, even if it's an elk or a moose.
Moose. Yeah.
Once it bays, it's so exhausted. They're gonna get it. I mean,
they're gonna get it. Yeah. Without a doubt. That's why. While predatory wild canines have a, their percentage in prey kills is much higher than big cats, and that's that's a fact. And like you were saying about the coyotes earlier, a coyote, even with coyotes, where I'm at and where you're at, and where all the rest of the panel is at, they're going to differ a little bit. You know what I mean? As far as looks to go, the size.
Well, you take your coyotes here. The biggest one I ever killed weighed almost 70 pounds.
Coy wolf, you think?
Most likely. I mean, he was an absolute
that's
huge, huge dog.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a picture somewhere of me holding him by his feet.
Yeah, you showed me.
Yeah. Like I'm 5'9", and his nose and front feet were on the ground with me holding him up. And it was all I could do to hold him up with one hand just to stretch him out for the picture.
That's big. That's big. In my guess, it would had. We at one time had a huge problem with coy wolves up here, and that that sounds size wise. That sounds like a coy wolf, in my opinion. I know, John. Let's hear from you a little bit here.
Yeah, I saw one about a 75 pound, maybe 80. That's just a rough estimate on my part. Coyote, right here in town. Now, I say town, 500 people. All right.
Right.
And it was, I don't know, gosh, it was dark. And when it crossed the road, it looked at me like, are you going to stop? And then when of course, I slowed down, I had to take a peek at this thing, and it stood between the sidewalk and the road on the grass. And it looked at me like, with this expression on, it's like, what,
Yeah.
it was definitely the cock of the roost, as they say.
Right.
It definitely was. And the color, it was more grayish. Now,
No.
Okay, I'm not going to say that. I mean, around here, coyotes, red and gray, all right? But it was more grayish. Now, I'm thinking it could have been mated with a dog, like
Very well could be.
like a shepherd or something
Very
like
well
that.
could be.
Well, I mean, they call them coy dogs.
That's right.
Yeah, we have coy dogs and what they call the coy wolf up here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here,
That's why I carry with me when I go into the woods for those
Sure.
kind of things.
Sure.
They don't have a sense of humor.
No, especially with the mix. You take wolf mixed with a coyote or a coyote mixed with a dog. In what I've dealt with as far as hunting, predator hunting coy wolves, I've always found them way more aggressive than a regular coyote.
Oh, and I got to correct something that happened several weeks ago while I'm thinking about it. Okay. It was mentioned, we were talking about, up here, and the mention was moose, and it was brought up, John and Jeremiah, moose in their area. You don't have moose here in Indiana. I mean, it's the, I just wanted to get that out. It's the habitat is not conducive to a moose here. Plus, it's too populated for moose. But anyway, I just want to get that out. Now, wolf, I've seen, that's different. That's different.
Yeah.
You can have a wolf here, and I know of at least 2 people that have had bears. And what do, they turned them loose. So, yeah, we've got black bear here. And I know that there's wolves in captivity.
Sure.
So, and there's the 3/4 wolf. So,
yeah, there's different. Yeah, there's all sorts of.
Anyway, yeah, I wanted to clarify that, but yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let's hear your thoughts on the Bigfoot thing. What is your opinion now?
My opinion about the subspecies and all that.
I want to hear a straight John Schweitzer.
They don't make enough little that I can type to fill in the blankety. No, I don't know how many types there are. I'm only concerned with one.
Let's hear.
I
don't even give us a guess.
I'm still going to say maybe possibly 4. That's just me.
Okay.
I don't think that there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, because that fills everybody's imagination out there that thinks they've seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I compare them to people.
What?
I still go back to compare them to us people. Go to any big outlet store, anywhere public where there's a lot of people, and just look at how many different heights, shapes, skin color, hair type.
Yeah.
Even locomotion, how people walk. I mean, look at
and I gotta agree with you on that, because if you compare them with people, I mean, we haven't even seen a dead body yet, for real. I mean,
Right.
I've seen the Minnesota Iceman, but even there, Will told me that that was probably the mock-up of the original that I saw. All right, but all right, skin. All right, skin color. Okay, I get
Mhm.
that. All right, and I understand that. But all right, you go into Walmart, you've got Caucasian, you've got
Mhm.
Latino, you've got Asian, not Oriental, that's a food. You've got Asian, all right. You have African, and every one of those has a different bone structure. I'm saying this, and people are going to go, wait a minute. There, you can tell by the skull. If you were to see a skull, we're talking bone, you could tell a forensic specialist. Yeah, right, Israel? Forensically
Yeah.
speaking, you
Yes,
can
sir.
tell by a skull. Okay, what culture or that skull is from. All
You're
right.
right. Absolutely.
But does that skull, and this is to Israel here, but does the shape of that skull tell you what color their skin is?
No, well, not that I know of.
It would just say basically this would be like Asian,
The
so their
region
skin
or
color should
I
be
yeah,
this. Yeah,
yeah.
couldn't it,
okay.
but couldn't it give you a rough idea in a way? I mean, if you take a skull and you know which part of a continent or which continent it's from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could get a rough idea, right?
But yeah, but you're just saying rough idea, and that's the correct way to say
Right.
it. But
Real
so
rough.
because at that time you're just based on previous documented uh, uh, bones and stuff. You can go off of
Mhm.
that, like what John's saying. And I'm sure they got machines now that thousands, millions of dollars that can do all that forensic analysis.
Yeah.
But again, all it will tell you is like what John's saying, that it's based on this region. I don't know that. Again, I don't know that it would tell you, skin color or stuff like that, but at least it could tell you possible age.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, male, female.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those sort of gender or those sort of new general stuff, but I don't know that it would tell you color.
Oh, I wasn't speaking of the machine itself. I was just saying,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
knowing, as far as people knowing, we give you
Well,
a rough
the
idea.
other detail that we're not adding into this that I think matters a whole lot is when it comes to eyewitness reports, it's not like they went out there and sat down and watched this thing for an hour or 2 hours. I mean, they call
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And I will be the first one to tell you from my experiences, the details of it get real fuzzy real quick just because of the adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
It was quick, it was fast, and you sitting there, of course, even questioning, like, what did I just see?
Absolutely.
What I
Yeah.
saw?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that alone could account for a whole lot of the different ideas as far
It
as
could.
different types and subspecies and
Sure.
Yeah, a good example in my and that I just off the top of my head, man, is like, okay, you saw a buck run out in front of you. How many point was it? How big was it? What did
Oh,
it
yeah.
weigh? Was it face long? Was its face short? How was its ears? Were they laid back when it ran, or was its ears
Mhm.
up? Were they pointing out? It was gray. It was red, and it had antlers.
I can add to that. The other evening, I left work a little early just to hunt for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I had a spike buck. I'm talking like just a pretty devil horn spike buck come walking right by me.
Yep.
But body wise, he was massive. To only
How
be a
long
spike
did you?
buck,
How long did you have to look at him? That's what I'm getting at, basically.
45 seconds.
One runs out in front of your car,
Yeah.
you know.
See,
You 4 or 5 seconds is a long time too.
Yeah,
Really,
he come
it is.
walking up, real calm, casual. I got a good look at him. But what I'm getting at is for his body size, he should have looked like that thing on the wall behind me.
There you go.
Good genetic. Yeah, good genetic.
He didn't have much antler to him. And that all goes back to even white-tailed deer being such a singular species. They are so different even just right here in this one area, and especially if you go from the Gulf of Mexico to the up into Canada, I mean, good God, look at the
Absolutely.
different size, build.
Yep.
Yeah. I was in, yeah, my net. I was telling these guys. I don't know if I told you. I was telling John and Gary earlier. My nephew bagged one, 6-pointer. He dressed out at 176. You know, I mean, that's for that's a good sized deer. For
It is.
very. And I can't imagine he was any, God, a couple years old. Maybe. I mean, just good genetics. I mean,
And it goes
but,
down to habitat, food source.
exactly.
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 This dude, I mean, if they living right beside, a 300 or 400 acre farm of corn all summer, and
Well,
they're eating corn or
yeah,
soy,
and corn, it may happen to fall from the sky magically, or apples or something. You never know. But anyway,
Yeah.
where was I going with that? But yeah, there's a lot of variables involved when it comes to anything like this. There really is. What's the law there, John? Gary, you mentioned this the other night. I think it was one of you. As we get further north, mammals get bigger.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
animals period get bigger further.
Animals, period. Yeah. What is the name of that law?
I didn't find out I didn't get in touch with Will. He was talking to me about it one time, and I think I was the one that brought up the name of it. I can't remember to save my life.
You brought up something last week, but
yeah,
I don't think that was it. To be honest, no,
it's
you
called,
brought up the
Google
name
it up.
Cannibalism.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh no. Okay, Gary, help me out. The disease.
Bergman's rule.
That's the rule.
What is it?
Bergman's rule.
Okay.
It's an ecological rule that states that within a broadly distributed taxonomic clade, population species of larger size are found in colder environments. Warmer climates impose on the opposite problem. Body heat generated by metabolism needs to be dissipated quickly rather than stored within.
And he is reading that, folks. He's not really that intelligent.
Yes. Well, I'm intelligent enough to read.
You're intelligent enough to go to Google, and I didn't do that. So there you go.
My intelligent level stops with Google.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, but what was Gary? What was the disease from cannibalism? Cuckoo.
I got it written down.
Gary had it the other night. He mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremiah wrote it down. Cuckoo is originated in Polynesia. I remember.
Yeah.
I think it is Kuka. God, it's bad when hearing your writing.
Spell it.
K-U-R-U.
Writing here.
Kuru.
K-U-R-U.
Kuru, yeah.
Kuru.
It looks like I have it written down.
It's one of those. It's from one of those languages that have like 12 letters in it or something like that in the entire alphabet. It's.
Well, we kind of touched base on it last week. And y'all brought us right back into this. Where we was talking about the Neanderthals. Being predominantly eating protein, and it seems like the larger the animal, the farther north you get, it seems like that their diet, which would make sense because there's not as much floral, farther north, where target species farther south would be more omnivorous, eating plants, and because you see that straight across the boards, like black bears have been known to eat more plants than grizzlies and big brown because they're predominantly for protein.
Yeah, but a bear, you say grizzlies, a bear is an opportunist.
Oh yeah.
Just like us,
up here, the big black bear, they will, when they get the chance, they'll snag a deer.
Well, you have to be in a survival situation.
They kill deer.
Right.
They kill deer here. My brother, the black bears here they actually hunt deer and kill them. My brother saw one do it this past summer. He actually walked up on it. and it was
Yeah.
it was a young black bear killing a fawn.
A
white
fawn.
Yep.
My brother-in-law shot one that was after a doe and a fawn, and they crisscrossed. He could have grabbed that doe, but you know what he did? He turned. He went right for that fawn. So he wanted that. He wanted that wheel. That's lack of a better term.
I think John had a very good point. We started this thing off with the Lovelock Caves. Every species on the planet has been known. I've seen dogs, regular, house dogs. If they get starving, they'll eat a dead dog's carcass. Every species on the planet, when they get into a situation, will revert to cannibalism.
Absolutely.
I'm under the impression that maybe these things, I've heard a few reports of them eating and carrying out bodies.
Well, puppies aren't too particular about what they eat. If you've ever watched puppies, and that carries over. I mean, it's not something that they might be a little more particular as they get older, but
right.
Yeah,
you've had tribes of people in ancient times that would eat their adversaries, their enemy.
Yes.
They needed the food. I mean, it was like a.
They take in their and they would take in their
like their spirit. And their strength.
Right. The tribe the what are the Maui warriors
more
of New Zealand. Yep.
One of those 12 letters.
Too, you think of it too when you cut it down to the basic needs of consumption.
Yes.
The only thing that makes cannibalism wrong to us is sociology.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
I can tell you right now, and I'll tell anybody this, and I always have. If all of us were stranded somewhere with no hope of survival, rescue, whichever one of y'all went down first, we're gonna be barbecuing.
Well, y'all better first. You'll eat on me for a week.
Appreciate your sacrifice.
Exactly. We love you. But we know we know you'd want us to do this.
Remind me not to go out. Right. Remind me not to go out on no islands with y'all because y'all be looking at me like a fried pig because y'all can eat on me for a week. It is. It's a sociological.
It is.
It's a social thing. It's a social thing.
It is.
It's not for in some of the tribes, it's not so much substance as it is. What's the word I'm looking for? Ritual.
Ceremonial. Ritual. Yeah.
Substance to ceremonial. Yeah.
I know it's been proven in the Western United States, pre-Pueblo, pre-Paleolithic. It's very well known stew over in the UK of the early Celtic rituals of consuming their enemies. In every ancient culture, it's a part of life. Almost it's not taboo like it is now.
Right.
So this is why we don't. This is why we don't find any Bigfoot.
Let's say goodbye, Israel. Thanks for coming on, bud. Even the short period you had, thank you for coming on, buddy.
And I'll get with you guys later for the other stuff.
Yes, sir. We will talk to you later then, my friend.
It's good seeing you, Israel.
You, sir. You too.
Yeah. Take care, buddy.
Have a good night.
Yeah. Well, maybe this whole thing about cannibalism or eating is why we don't find any Bigfoot, right?
Well, that's where I was.
That has been said, right?
Yeah, that's where I was leading with that. Was very. You wonder.
Well,
yeah. First, you got to find one.
Absolutely.
I tell you what, we got Justin. I was telling you, Justin Decker's hopping on in a minute, and I'll let him tell. I don't want to spoil and tell his story, but he can really. You talk about the ritualistic part of cannibalism, and he, Justin Twister, don't you?
I've never met him. I just know him, from.
He's a very nice guy. Very nice guy. Born in the Amazon, and he was adopted by Christian missionaries. Lived with the tribe until he was 7 years old. Way into the Amazon. They had never seen Caucasians before. So he's, you know, he could probably tell some pretty cool stuff, and that's why I wanted to come on, but he's going to lay himself. But he's
I'm
also
sorry.
very sharp mind too.
I have to apologize. If it looks like I'm fidgeting, did you ever put something down and you can't find it?
Yes, all the time.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to find something very important, but I can't find it. But okay.
And I know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, if you see it, let me know, would you?
I will.
Okay.
Back on the diversity, you know, of these things. It almost, you know, we said this in the beginning, and I don't want to be sounding like I'm beating a dead horse in the head, but with the diversity of every other population of animal on this planet, we would have to have some kind of diversity here. Guess Stu's leaving us. Darn it.
Yeah, he said he had to cut out early as well. Yeah.
Well, goodbye, Stu. Man.
I'll bid you all good night, gentlemen.
Oh,
you too, buddy.
Get some sleep. What time is it where you are right now? What time is it?
20 past 1 in the morning.
Yeah, get some rest.
You got to work tomorrow, brother.
I have, yes. So don't speak you up, gentlemen.
We got to start doing this a little earlier then.
Get some rest, brother.
Good night, lad. Take care.
Good.
Thanks
good
for joining
morning.
us.
Welcome.
So yeah, who's Gary? You were saying something, or was it John?
Well, it was both kind of, as you know, anybody with an understanding nature of nature, period, for lack of better terms, the diversity of a genome species across the board is so diverse. We would almost be shooting ourselves in the foot if we thought that these didn't have a diverse cross, physically, emotionally, you know. And if they, I'm not going to say if, I'll say they are, even ritualistically. You know, we have determined that orcas have a language, and different orca pods have different hunting styles, have different click noises. So we know that they're at an upper level.
That's been proven
too.
Yeah. They've succeeded because of communication and the fact that they are one of the bigger predators.
Yes.
Say, you know,
yeah.
Out there. And they're not particular about so much about what they eat. It's not like they're going to stop and go, wait a minute, that's a dolphin. Let's go after the marlin instead, you know?
Well, I don't think they can catch a marlin. Marlins can swim up to 68 miles an hour. But
yeah, well,
John had a real good point. And of course, Jeremiah, you know this, and Travis too, but John, you being the primitive life skills that you have, we as Americans have gotten so spoiled to the quality of food that we eat. First thing we teach in a survival skill is it's mental. It's pretty bad when we're paying $100 for a steak that's aged 27 days.
When you could go out and find a piece of meat laying in the woods, it's
absolutely
27 days.
Right? Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
It's a psychological thing for us. I tell people the only thing that makes something where you can't eat it unless it's poisonous or rancid is your own mental state. And I've proven that more than once with people. You know, I feed them something like a deer. Oh, deer makes me sick. And I feed it to them and I don't tell them what it is. And then I let it totally pass through their system 3 or 4 days. And they're, oh, that was the greatest steak that I ever ate. Then I tell them a deer and they want to go act like they're getting sick, which is strictly a mental taboo. You know, the human body does have physical, and that leads right back into the Sasquatch or the target species. Our bodies, we was talking about evolution, has changed because we eat so much processed food now.
That's right.
All bladders have gotten smaller, our stomach liners we've got rancid acid because we eat so many. Where their bodies have eaten a more, we call it a paleo diet. I eat a paleo diet myself. Right. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Their bodies would have, you know, be more in tune of eating more raw meat, you know, eating. The most honest statement I ever heard of a report of a guy saying, he said everything they touch goes to their mouth because they're so big. They have to have so many calories. Everything they touch goes to their mouth. Look at a shark.
Can you imagine calorie intake? I mean, oh my God. I mean, a healthy guy, let's
Yeah.
say 200 pounds. I mean, what is Gary?
Well, for an
But
average guy, 200 pounds, it depends. They
about
say
5,000.
well, 3,000 to 5,000. An MRE they say is 3,500 calories, and it'll
Right. So
if
picture a 1,000-pound Sasquatch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're talking upwards of God. I mean, you're talking into. Geez, I wouldn't even begin to answer that, but a lot.
You're not only talking about size, you're talking about lifestyle.
absolutely.
Like
True.
me, I mean,
No,
I weigh
that's true.
100 pounds, but you know, obviously I work a lot. I'm on
Yeah.
my feet a lot. I'm physical, moving, and even the few days I get off, I'm at home working on stuff I have to catch up at home.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can sit down beside a guy that's twice my size that
And
lays
out
around the
eat.
house, don't do anything, and
Mm.
out eating because
Yeah.
I'm burning all that nutrition up. I have to have it.
Well, look at me and
My body
you.
burns.
Look at me and you. I have to lower my diet, which is the hardest thing for me to do because I'm so inactive now because of my physical status. So I'm ballooning out. And in saying that, prime deal. Look at the weight differential. John, I know you know more about this than I do. The weight differential in between a bear in the springtime when it comes out of hibernation than in the fall when it goes in. We would be awful silly to not think that this target species weight differential is not like that also.
Right.
Yeah, bear looks like it
I
could
would
turn
agree.
around in its skin.
Yes, absolutely. A bear track from you can take the same bear, big Kodiak or big brown bear from say springtime when he comes out of the den to the fall, and his length will stay the same, but his tracks will narrow anywhere from 3/4 to a
Yeah.
because they can't physically change the structure, the bone structure, but the
Bone, but
Well,
I got
yeah.
I
that
got to
actually-
tell you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll lose it if I don't say it.
Say
That
it.
actually made me think too. Just here in my area, the majority of my activity has always been late summer into fall.
Mhm.
Dead winter, it's like it's gone. And middle of dead hot summer, it's gone. So it's almost like when the weather's the best, maybe the eating's better. That's when they're more active, moving around a whole lot more. And I ain't gonna assume that they hibernate, like bears do and a lot of other animals.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do they intentionally just due to weather conditions, maybe food availability, even here, we have the highest concentration of hunters on the planet in the southeast. There is somebody hunting almost every acre of available land everywhere. It is just prolific this time of the year in the woods. The only places you're going to get any kind of interaction are the places that people are too lazy to go to.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
you're right there. I think they just move.
Everything that we're talking about as far as like what a bear weighs and what we eat and what a bear
Mhm.
eats and so forth. This all, if it seems to our viewers, audience, that we're getting off of the track of Bigfoot, we're not. We're actually relating things that
Right.
we know and we understand individually as well as a group, or things that are, it's a given, right?
Right.
And it all relates, and it's how we relate things back to Bigfoot. So if it gets boring sometimes, but I got to throw something in. I got to throw stuff.
You
Might like it. All right, you might like this. You might not. Now we were talking about the footprint on a bear, 3/4 of an inch, Gary, right? Less in the summer or the spring, or what? No, or was that Travis? I can't remember.
Yeah, and that's just
Yeah.
a guess. I'm not a
Okay. Well, you're right. So that same thing would probably apply to Sasquatch. Now, all right. Now,
I'll let you
see
finish.
if this fits. Okay. Talking to my dentist the other day. All right. Yeah, I got a tooth. You got to have a partial for that tooth that's missing. And I asked the dentist in a conversation, And she says, you would be surprised how many people don't understand why their teeth either won't fit, they feel tighter, or their teeth feel looser. And it's all because of weight.
Oh, absolutely.
You may not be able to get your false teeth in because you gained too much weight from eating because they were good false teeth, right? Or
Yeah.
Another factor.
or
Say-
they fall out. They fall off. You can't keep in
Right.
because you lost weight. All right.
With the target species, what if their teeth fall out or they damage
Exactly.
their teeth?
Mhm.
All of us have had bad teeth and a toothache, and it'll make you downright irritable. Everybody,
Absolutely.
It can kill you. In all reality, if you get, you know, I mean, let's face it.
you get up north and they say don't ever run across a grizzly bear with a toothache, or they talk about down south an alligator with a toothache. But that
Exactly.
is a factor, or any kind of injury would change. The metabolic. But as
Right.
as a species wise, we would be awful. How would we say arrogant to think that they would be the same in the Pacific Northwest as they are in Florida. Yeah, you'd have some similarities, but it's just not. None of the animals, especially the predators, are as big in the South as they are the North.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I found what I was looking for. I kicked it about 3 or 4 times, but there it is. So anyway.
Yeah, there it is. I knew you were looking
right
for
under my nose. It was right there. But
it.
that's like the woodland buffalo is said to be bigger than the plains buffalo. And I know a little bit about buffaloes. And I mean, they can outmaneuver a horse, and they have like 2 speeds, graze and full out, right?
Yeah.
But the original buffalo, my God, they were huge. I've got a yearling hide lay in my front room, and it drapes over the back of I call it the buffalo bench. It's a high back Victorian bench. Drapes over the back, the tail touches the ground, comes over, gets down on the seat, and that's a yearling. All right. So depending upon there, you got location, and it said that was basically a contemporary farm red buffalo that I've got the hide off of, but it said that the woodland buffalo was bigger than the plains buffalo. Now, I've never seen a woodland buffalo, but we're talking massive weights, massive size of the original bulls and so forth before they were hunted, that recorded buffalo hunting.
Right.
You've got horns on them that were, so big around and probably so long. This right here, if I can get it down. All right. Remember what I said? So big around. Oh, I'm not going to. This is a contemporary buffalo horn from now. Okay. Pretty small. Anyway, it's location. Realtors, location. It's the climate, the location. It's got to do with the further north you go. I don't know why I got off of that. I'm sorry.
No. That's got everything to do with what we're talking about, man. Like you were saying earlier, it really does. It does. It really does. That would make a woodland buffalo being bigger than the typical plains. That would make sense to me.
Yeah. So I wish we could classify Bigfoot as saying, well, the woodland as compared to the mountain,
maybe one of these days.
yeah, but we've got to, we've got to have that one little thing, right? And we haven't got it yet. So.
We don't.
Okay.
That
caused a lot of quiet.
Well, no, it just.
I think
Here's one of my deals. I know we kind of touched based on it the other night about the planet having all the single continent and then splitting off.
Yes.
But how would, huh?
Pangea.
Pangea.
How would we? My question, I was going to ask Israel and Stu because they're both on islands. Of course, we know Great Britain; they can swim across the strait. But how do we explain them on all these little inhabited? Because the reason I'm asking is it was brought up to me today during the interview. How would we explain on all these little inhabited Polynesian islands and like Hawaii? I mean, Hawaii is literally that they ain't going to swim to Hawaii.
No, but they were probably there. They probably were there to start with. And size matters. And I cannot remember where it's at. Check it out, though. Look it up. Google, whatever. I want to say it's like Madagascar, but I'm wrong. I'll say that now. I'm probably wrong. Elephants. There is a small breed of elephant.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like full-grown elephants, like 6 feet tall.
I believe you're talking now. That's the small forest elephant type kind of thing, right?
Here,
Yeah.
let me get out my magical pen and type.
My guess would be there parts of the Congo, maybe Cameroon.
I don't know,
No,
but it's there, and it's got to do with habitat. All right, it's got to do with the size of the habitat.
Yeah.
So if you've got a small island, then you've got a smaller.
Well, I'm sure
I'm shutting up.
a lot of y'all at some point in your life have had goldfish. Just a regular old plain goldfish. Well, you put a goldfish in a little half-gallon bowl, and he'll only get so big. You put a single goldfish in a 10-gallon aquarium, and he'll get big enough to eat.
Yeah, they call them carp.
I run that very long.
Huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They will
pretty much.
They will grow to the environment they live in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And they typically won't outgrow whatever environment you put them in, namely the size of a fish bowl.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That all comes
brings
down
us to
to
another. Yeah. I mean, which brings us to another topic of this whole discussion. More room something's got to move around in, more resources.
Yep.
Well, it's endless. The possibilities are endless.
People throughout history, when they outgrow a region, they start to expand and conquer and get more land.
Yeah,
they do.
Real simple. Because the only alternative to that is to pretty much starve to death.
Well, we talked about the Neanderthal. The reason I'm saying that about the islands, we also know that we've got proof that we've had man on every major land mass. Even ancient man. So how far would we to not say that they're not there also, like we was talking about? We found that little persons way down on the Polynesian islands. We've had people on Samoa and Hawaii for thousands of years, and it to me it makes perfect sense what we was talking about the other night. But that was asked to me. It was like, I think what that's trying to do is trying to elude and see what I thought about astral projection and walking through dimensions and all that. And I don't think it's the case. I think it's strictly a biological diversity of the species that's moved around like we have. And
well, I mean, you take the Hawaiian Islands are volcanic. They were created by volcanic activity. That's where they came from. But they are extraordinarily ancient and very, very large to be volcanic islands. I mean, who's to say, there were other islands that came and went. I mean, we know so little for what scientists want to act like they do know. I mean, you take Krakatoa. Was it like 250 years ago, whatever it was, when it blew? Krakatoa was a major island, and when it blew, it was gone. It's rebuilding itself right now, fairly quickly.
When it blew, the shock wave went around the world, bounced off itself, came back and bounced.
Yeah.
Like
they say that is the loudest sound that has ever been witnessed by modern man.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause it was heard, I mean, about 3/4 of the way around the world, audibly just by the ear. It was
you know
such
what's bad? They say
So-
when
when you start talking about plate tectonics, geology, the way the earth remaps itself, and even super volcanoes, there is so much history on this planet that we know nothing about. I mean, land masses that could have came and gone. I mean, I believe Pangea was a real thing. I mean, anybody can look at just a spread of the world map, and it fits together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Mhm.
You don't have to be a PhD to figure that one out.
what are you talking about?
No.
There's flat.
Yeah, that's right. Earth is flat. Everything else in the universe is round, but Earth is flat.
You know, you're talking
That's
about
right.
volcanoes. They say when Yellowstone blows, it's gonna be 3 to 5 times as worth as that Krakatoa.
It's gonna be it's not gonna be pretty. Not gonna be nice. Well, gentlemen, I hate to do this, but go ahead first, Travis.
Oh, real quick, I was just gonna say the day Yellowstone blows, North America is pretty much extinct. The whole continent.
We may as well all say our goodbyes and have
Yeah.
a more Zoom session.
We'll be having
All
a Zoom
joking
session on
aside,
the other
yeah,
side.
it'll get ugly. Yeah,
Put
we
your
may.
head between your
Hopefully
knees.
what's that?
I was saying you might as well put your head between your knees and kiss your butt goodbye. 'Cause
Pretty much. I mean, hopefully we'll be gone by then. We don't have to deal with it. But anyway, I've got in this. We're actually, gentlemen, next Sunday there will be a part 3 to this.
Cool.
Your homework.
I get a couple ideas written down already. John, Gary,
Yeah.
Travis, all from you guys, one for myself. So we're already cooking for next week, boys. Already ready to rock and roll.
Well, I'm glad we are going to cover this next week because I got a little deal I want to throw at y'all next week. So it'll take about 5 minutes, and y'all touch
I
base.
can tell by looking in your eyes, you got something cooking.
You touched base today about reconstruction of the human skull or of the skull. I've got a little video clip I'm going to play for you.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys.
Sounds interesting.
Once again, what can I say? Great show. And I wanted Justin didn't join us for a reason. I don't know. Yeah. Don't know. No, I'll have to get in touch with him too. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. He was too late. Anyway.
We both got those after this.
I'll bring him on next weekend. Anyway, thanks, guys. Yeah, we will continue this conversation next week.
Okay. See you guys
later.
later.
Listeners, thank you
Good
for supporting
evening,
us.
all.
That's right. Good evening to all, and to all a good night. Thank you.
Merry Thanksgiving. Wait a minute. Happy Christmas.
Yeah, you had to reverse that, John.
I'm still trying to figure out what we were talking about earlier when we were texting, but I don't know.
I don't know what the hell you're.
We'll talk to y'all later. I got to jump off
Playing
here.
with words. Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good evening, Travis. I'll see you in a few.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Y'all too.
Bye.